Afghanistan.
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 Afghanistan. Afghanistan.
Afghanistan is a country that I feel very, very passionate about, and I recently visited for the second time and hosted a group trip there to take some people with me. One of the main things that people ask me is how I feel about the things that are happening for women in the country. So this video, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the women's rights and how it is as a tourist, as a female. So in this video, there will be some insights into travelling as a female, as well as some interactions with local women. Please remember that just because I visit a country does not mean I support everything that happens, and I'm fully aware that my rights as a tourist are very different than the local women experience. Good morning from Kabul, the capital city of Afghanistan. After a full day of exploring yesterday, it is time to head to our next destination. Today we are driving for around 3 hours to reach the city of Bamyan, known as one of the most beautiful and special places in the country. For the next few days of the trip, we were supposed to have a female guide with us to give us some insights to living in Afghanistan as a female. Unfortunately, due to the power outage, we had no way of contacting her to arrange when we should pick her up or where we should meet her. We just had to hope that the power and connection would be switched on before we reached Bamyan so that we were able to get in touch. Unfortunately, this wasn't the case. Our first stop for today is a beautiful, beautiful viewpoint just outside of Kabul, overlooking some of the mountains and this really stunning lake. Of course, on the way, we stopped at some services and some of the group grabbed some local smoothies made on the side of the road. On the way, the guides and drivers let the group have a go at driving themselves. As a female living in Afghanistan, you are not allowed to drive a car. It is only men who can drive in the country.
Bailey, message from Mum.
Mum, I've just learnt to drive my first manual here in Afghanistan.
Upon arriving in Bamyan, the first thing we had to do is go and grab a lunch. So we headed to a local restaurant to try the Afghani burger, which is something our guides have been talking about since we arrived.
I thought it was going to be like an extra.
The next stop for today is Gogala city, which is also known as the City of Screams, because in Bamyan it was one of the places that Genghis Khan used to execute lots of people, unfortunately, and the nearby villagers would hear their screams, hence the nickname. Although it does have a pretty horrific history behind it, it is also known as one of the most beautiful spots in Bamyan, and we are here an hour before sunset, so the lighting is absolutely gorgeous, and we are going to make our way up to the top now and get some views over the incredible city that is Bamyan. I feel like I say this about every place that I visit in this country, but Gogala City is one of my favourite places in the country. It is absolutely stunning, and to see it in the summertime with the sun setting and all the views over the mountains is really, really special. Not sure if it's my favourite more than the Red City. It's definitely top 3.
Four towers, another side that we had at this year. Okay. And 3 tower where I will show you.
We have spent the last hour or so at Gogala City and have watched the sunset from the top, and now I'm making our way to one of the Buddhas. I believe we're going to the male Buddha because that's the one that you can't climb, so we're going to go and have a look from the outside, and then tomorrow morning we will visit the other Buddha and the rest of the sites in Bamyan. We have made it to the male Buddha of Bamyan, and you may be wondering where the Buddha is. It no longer exists. The Taliban in 2001 blew up the Buddha. They blew up the male and the female statue, and now the gaps in the cave just exist, and you can climb the female Buddha and you can look out all the beautiful mountain views from it. However, the male Buddha isn't quite as structurally safe, so you can only see it from the floor. Luckily we arrived when the Taliban were here, and they kind of guard the area and unlock it for people that want to come in, so we have been able to come into the actual courtyard and get up close and experience it.
And here was some Buddha. When they came, they found it, they destroyed it. Here was some Buddha. Yeah.
I remember tiny they put us.
Yeah, there was some Buddha. And the top side, there was like a painting of Buddha. The top side, yeah. The roof.
You good? Our last official stop for the day was to come to a couple of grocery stores and fruit shops, and we've ended up in a cake shop of all places, and they have so many different options. I've gone for some different cookies, not really sure what any of them are, and we've got our driver's favourite cake, gift to him because he's absolutely lovely. To get a rough idea of how much this stuff costs, it is super cheap, with my total coming in at only $2 for a bag of cookies and a full-size cake. Can we put them in the same bag?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Same bag?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay.
We ate together.
After another full day, it was time to crash at the hotel and prepare for a super early morning start. Before we jump into day 5, I'm going to talk a little bit about one of the most obvious differences for females travelling and living in Afghanistan, which is the clothing. A headscarf to cover your hair, as well as full coverage on clothing such as the abayas that you see me wearing in this video, are mandatory in Afghanistan. Just like other Muslim countries, full coverage and covering your hair is a very big part of their religion and culture, so it's definitely not the only country you see this in. Good morning from Bamyan. Today is day 5 of our trip, and it is by far my favourite day. This morning was definitely an early one as we left at 5 a.m. Our early start was due to 2 reasons. The first one being we wanted to capture the beautiful sunlight that is what you are seeing right now, and it was definitely worth it. The second reason is that women are banned from the national park. The only women who are allowed in are the women who live in the national park and some tourists, depending on which Taliban guard is on shift that day. When we arrived, there was already a Taliban on the checkpoint, so we did get stopped. Our guides and drivers, as always, handled this, and they were told that there are too many women in our group to be allowed to enter the national park. Our guides were absolutely amazing, and they explained to the Taliban at the checkpoint that we were just tourists who wanted to experience the national park. We would be there a few hours and then leave. After about 5 minutes, we were allowed to enter. This is something that differs every year because when we came last year, we had no issues, and not even was it mentioned that a female was trying to enter. Good morning from Bandi Amir. It is currently 6:30 in the morning and we have just arrived after an hour drive. The sun is rising and we have this place to ourselves, and surrounded by mountains and views over the lakes. It is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, pose for me, donkeys.
We have just walked down to one of the lakes here in the national park and have gone for a bit of a wander, and now we are going to go and have breakfast at one of the little tents up the top with a beautiful view just under one of the caves. This place is absolutely stunning, and we've spoken to a lot of locals this morning, which is always a nice thing to be able to do when you're travelling as well.
With the ducks?
There's no
Swans?
airplanes.
Or vehicle or anything?
No, nothing
Boat?
is available. Yes. You want to ride a boat?
As we were exploring the national park, we came across some children who were absolutely fascinated with us and hung around to talk and play with us. One girl in particular who lived in the national park stuck out to us, and she hung around with us for a few hours. We discovered that she didn't have many winter clothes going into the cold season, and she also had really bad burn on her skin. So me and a few of the group went to the local market and brought her some local clothes, face cream and a hairbrush. She was so happy and overwhelmed with the gesture. She really didn't want to leave us, but she waved us off as we left the national park. Our next stop today is to the female Buddha, which unfortunately we've run out of a little bit of time to go and climb it. So we're just going to admire it from afar for now and then head on to our next destination, which is the Red City.
You did this and I wasn't sure if that was like a hello or a go away.
We have just finished up lunch where we had some incredible local food and have just driven down to the Red City, which is one of my favourite places in this country, if not my favourite. It's so beautiful, and to see it in the summer when everything is just super green and it's warm and not freezing cold like it was when I was here last year. So excited to get up and look at the views in the summertime. I just had one of my favourite interactions of this trip so far this year. We were just walking up the Red City, and I was on my own, and I crossed a man, elderly man from the Netherlands, and we were just chatting, and he was like, oh, this is my tour leader, and he comes down and he goes, oh, you've been here before? And I was like, yeah, I came last year. And he goes, oh, I follow you on Instagram. And he pulls out his phone and then realises that he can't load anything because the internet is currently off. He goes, oh, he's trying to remember my name, and he goes, Sola? And I was like, oh, Sola. And he goes, yes, I know you. You're trip leader with ATE, which is the company we are with now, which was really cool to meet somebody in country who has followed me since almost a year ago when I was here last with Explore Afghanistan. So that was really cool, and he was super lovely. We had a little chat, and then they went on with their day. And after spending a few hours here at the Red City, we are making our way back down to the cars and preparing for a super long journey ahead. We are driving back to Mazar-i-Sharif tonight, which is anywhere between a 10 and 15 hour drive. It's currently 3:30, so we expect to arrive tomorrow in the early hours, hopefully enough time to grab a few hours sleep in a hotel before spending our last day in Mazar-i-Sharif, doing the last few things that we missed on our first day, and then crossing the border back to Uzbekistan.
Good views in the way.
Afghanistan is just good views. There are no bad views here.
I hope we come back and see again.
I'm gonna come back many more times, don't worry.
I'm waiting for you.
I've made one more stop on our way to Mazar-i-Sharif, which is to see a tank, and you can see people standing on it behind us. We have a friend in the group, Bailey, who is really into the history and war and has been really wanting to see a tank, and we spoke to our guide and he knew one that you can go on and go in and kind of move stuff around and get up close to it, which is really cool. So he's brought us here on our journey back to Mazar, and it's pretty... After watching the beautiful light and the sunset over the mountains, it was time to start the drive in the dark. And it was just as we were coming up to the mountain pass, so it was one very bumpy drive. After many hours of driving, we finally reached Mazar-i-Sharif at around 4:30 in the morning. We headed to bed for a few hours and woke up the next day ready to explore our final day in Afghanistan, so stay tuned to see what we got up to.